Good morning children, welcome to Nelson School Distant Education System. In the previous session, we have done the simple synthesis using those 5 different methods. This is the 6th method, that is using connectives. Okay, so once again we'll go for the definition. Synthesis means the combination of a number of sentences into a one sentence. That one sentence could be joined and made a simple or made a compound and the complex statement. These are the 5 types that you have already learned: using participle, using helping verbs, using infinitive to plus verb, using noun or noun phrase in apposition, and adverbial phrase. So in today's session, we'll be learning the using of simple synthesis by using connectives. What are the steps to be followed for joining the sentences using connectives? Number 1 is 2 or 3 different statements will be given. Now next is circle the verb in the former statement or the statements as we usually do it. Connectives like in order to, on account of, despite of, in spite of, instead of can be used. Synthesize the statements into one statement. That is called synthesis. And then make sure to use only one finite verb because this is called a simple synthesis. Take for example, number 1, there is a Christmas tomorrow, there will be holiday. Okay. So the finite verb is and again it is will. 2 finite verbs. Now we have to change the sentence into simple using connective. So what we usually can write is there will be a holiday on account of Christmas. Or you can write tomorrow there will be a holiday on account of Christmas. Or you can bring on account of ahead and write on account of Christmas there will be a holiday tomorrow. Number 2, the stones had little value, they were pretty. Now children, whenever there is a contrast shown, you have to use either in spite of or despite of. Okay, despite usually conveys a negative sense. So whenever there is a negative word called no, not, you can use despite of, and when there are positive words, then that time you can use in spite of. So the stones had little value, they were pretty. Had is the first finite verb, were second finite verb. We got our 2 finite verbs. Okay, now then I have to use only one finite verb. Now using connective will be in spite of little value. Next thing you can do is, because this is a first verb, you change had to having. Okay, so you can write in spite of having little value, comma, the stones, because this they stands for the stones. So I'll write the stones were pretty. Or you can write in spite of little value, the stones were pretty. Number 3, he did not hear, though I called him again and again. Now it is finite verb is did, hear and called. 2 finite verbs. Now again this is showing contrast, so you can use in spite and despite both. But because as I have told you, the negative word is there, so you can use despite of. So it is he did not hear, though I called him again and again. Okay, now this hear and this call, there are 2 finite verbs. So among one of those you have to change it to participle and then use despite of. So we have changed here call to calling. So it is despite of calling him again and again, he did not hear. Okay, instead of he was supposed to help the poor, but he cheated them. So now again but shows the contrast. So first finite verb is was, second finite verb is cheated. 2 finite verbs, and the word but shows contrast. So again I'll be using either in spite or despite, but it's because of there is no negative word, so no chance to use despite of. You can even use instead of. So it is here was and here cheated. Okay, now because this is there, you can write instead of helping the poor, he cheated them. Okay, or you can write in spite doesn't sound that better as instead of sound. So it is instead of helping the poor, comma, he cheated them. Next, he has failed many times, he still hopes to succeed. Okay, so first finite verb again has and hopes. Fine, 2 finite verbs again shows the contrast, so you can use in spite of. So it is in spite of many failures, he still hopes to succeed. Next thing is as how I have taught you, because it is has, so you will be changing it to having, and hopes you keep same. So it is in spite of having failed many times, has you change to helping verb having. So it becomes in spite of having failed many times, comma, he still hopes to succeed. Next, she had many shortcomings, but she was a nice woman. Again it is had and was. Okay, 2 finite verbs. So you've changed this had, so it changes to having. but this also shows contrast, so we'll be using instead of or in spite of. So it's in spite of had changes to having. So in spite of having many shortcomings, comma, she was a nice woman. Next, Tagore was a poet. He was a good painter. Okay, so this is showing joining. These are the things that are, these two statements are joining. Okay, this shows that he was not only a great poet but also a good painter. So it is used for the purpose of joining. So you can use besides, besides. And that is besides. Now here two finite verbs are there again. If one finite verb I keep same, this finite verb I have to remove. When I remove this, I have to change because it's a helping verb. Am, is, are, was word gets changed into ing, being. So it is besides being a great poet, comma. Now this he, actually we want to use he. But who will come to know who is this he? So this he stands for Tagore. So it is besides being a great poet, comma, Tagore was a good painter. Number 5, he faced many obstacles but he succeeded in building his house. Okay, so again two finite verbs are faced and succeeded, two finite verbs. Okay, again it's but a contrast word, so you can use in spite and despite both, but one word if you have to change, one verb, so we'll change this face to participle facing. So it is in spite of facing many obstacles, comma, he succeeded in building his house. Thank you.